Hey there, business owners. So last week we talked about kind of that pressure, maybe that guilt. So maybe you're feeling that right now, right? Maybe there's a pressure to get a lot done, or man, we're in the crunch of it here. Today's Small Business Saturday, and I should be have more business this time of year. I'm guilty about that. Maybe there's a growing frustration happening where you're spinning your wheels, and um, you almost get to a point of resignation, saying, "Man, why am I working so hard and I'm not seeing any progress?" Well, you're in the exact right place. So, first and foremost, just let all those negative thoughts go. Because the truth is, we're not overwhelmed because we're doing things wrong or we're not capable of being a successful business owner. I truly believe that everyone has all the tools that they need to be a successful business owner. They just have to be willing to choose to utilize those tools. We're overwhelmed because we're out of alignment. And we talked about that a lot last week, but we're going to talk about this week going from overwhelmed to align, and how when we're trying to create our business, that's where some of the key shifts need to happen. So if you want to learn more about those key shifts, please stay tuned all the way to the end, and we're going to take you from overwhelmed to align. And I know that that is a major shift that most business owners need. So stay tuned to the rest of this recorded version, and let's get into it.
Dark days, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling sick, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights. With the support of our success group, we're taking flight. The power is strong, the vision so clear. Building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force. With our success group.
Let's talk some business.
Small business rock stars. Today's our day, right? It's Small Business Saturday when you're watching this live. And this is the Small Business Saturdays program, where every Saturday we talk about the mindset and mentality and actions that we need to take as small business owners to find that success. My name's Aaron Montgomery, and this is where we talk about the fundamentals, all real tools based on this book, The Fundamentals of Business Success. And my hope in my strategy and my plan is for you to fall deeper in love with what you get to do each day. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier before the intro, this show is recorded, but I do check all the comments and reply as often as I can. And if you didn't get a reply from me, just go back in there and do an @Aaron Montgomery and make sure that I'm tagged on that. But I love to keep these conversations going. It's not about just being here, hey, me sharing, I got the microphone. This is about a conversation with you guys, the small business owners. And if this message resonates with you, please share it. Please make sure that other people are watching this. I could really use your guys' help. If you're a regular listener, make sure that you're sharing these episodes, the ones that really stand out to you. And maybe you know somebody out there who just needs a little more clarity in their business. So before we jump into the plant, prepare, and pollinate sections today, I want to give you the heart behind this entire conversation. Last week we talked about doing less, right? And so I just want to be clear that, again, this week, not about doing more, not about working harder, not trying to force a plan that wasn't designed for you. It's not about hustling your way to clarity. That is the trap, right? And that's the trap that I fell into. So I know how easy that is. It's about understanding what you really want and why you do what you do, and then figuring out what's actually going to move the needle towards that. It's about seeing the connection between things like gratitude, alignment, and really the structure of your business. We're just a couple days removed from Thanksgiving here, and so we're going to include some gratitude today as well. And when you understand gratitude, alignment, and structure, things will start to make more sense more quickly. And you're going to start to see where energy is leaking. You're going to start to notice where your values aren't being honored. You're going to understand why some days you feel like you're running that uphill battle. And when you understand that, then you can make the corrections to where it feels like every day is a downhill, easy stroll, right? And I'm not saying it's always going to be like that, but you're going to end the day feeling like that. So today it's about awareness first, and then we'll look at some practical steps, and then we're going to talk about the actions that will create real change for you. And so if you are tired of just reacting all day and want to get back to building, please stick with me all the way to the very end here today. So plant the first cycle, right? And we're going to start off talking about the mindset of gratitude and that awareness. I know that you're like me, otherwise you wouldn't be tuned in here. And so you wake up and you've got notifications, messages, customer pings, pressure, noise of life, lots of different things going on, projects you want to accomplish, other people's needs being piled onto you. And it can be really easy to fall into this trap that this stress, this overwhelm is just normal. It's the price of business ownership. It's who we have to be. But what I found, thanks to a beautiful gift from my wife, is gratitude is the turning point in all of this. And I had this kind of weird relationship with gratitude, right? I was thankful for the things that I had, but I was more focused on the things that I didn't have, right? I was more focused on the fact that I wasn't there yet, and I needed to work hard. I needed to hustle more, right? I fell into that trap because I thought gratitude was when everything was perfect, everything was right. But the gift that I got was an understanding that gratitude doesn't pretend that everything's perfect. It simply refuses to let that imperfection be the only voice, right? The stress, the overwhelm. Gratitude just doesn't let that be the only voice in the room. And when you start slowing down long enough to see what's true and let gratitude seep in, it then starts to help you recognize and put your energy on all of the positive, all of the things that are going well, all of the ways where God's already shown up for you, for example, right? Gratitude gives us that turning point. And so when we kind of use gratitude as that linchpin or that turning point, then we understand that misalignment then creates the opposite of that, right? Because when I'm in alignment, I'm very grateful. I have joy. I have the sense of happiness, of fulfillment. And when I'm out of alignment, that's where anxiety, worry, overwhelm, fear, shame, regret, that's where those things start showing up. And then physically, we start getting burnt out. Emotionally, we feel burnt out. And I think a lot of that stems from the fact that we're trying to build a business that we were never designed to run, right? We're trying to use somebody else's blueprint. And that disconnect really shows up in a lot of loud ways, like frustration, avoidance, giving up, guilt, fatigue, right? And so coming back to gratitude and understanding that gratitude gets the last word if we so choose. Before we fix anything, we need to start having some awareness, right? We need to recognize a few real key things. So I'd invite you to write these things down, but ask yourself, where am I forcing something that's not designed for me, right? Oh, somebody says I need to be on TikTok. Is TikTok right for you and your strengths, right? I use TikTok as an example because I think that's the one I'm most pressured by. Like, oh man, I get all this business off of TikTok. I don't understand it. I don't like it. I get stuck in it. So I just don't do it, right? But if I was forcing that, I would feel frustrated. I would feel out of alignment. So that's the first question. Where am I forcing something I'm not designed for? Second question is, where am I ignoring my own strengths or values? Right? So part of my value is being solution oriented, but excuse me, I used to get drugged down into the blaming, the complaining, the excuse making, and I still have to be very aware of that, right? And so I was ignoring my own strength, and that's also a value of mine, right? That being solution oriented, having impact, right? And so I would ignore that need for impact because I felt like I was being arrogant and egotistical. But the reality was I was just avoiding it because I was out of alignment. I was trying to do a blueprint of somebody else, right? Everybody tells you what a successful business coach is supposed to look like. I've paid the thousands of dollars to learn all that, and I've watched all the videos and read all the books, but I was ignoring my own strengths and values. So that's the second question. Where am I ignoring my own strengths or values? And then lastly, where am I carrying things that God never asked me to carry? Right? Where am I carrying something that's not my burden to carry? Right? Whatever that question is for you, where am I carrying this thing that God never asked me to carry? Right? What's the story? I'm going to pause there for a second. What's the story? Maybe this is a moment to just type in, what's your story? What's the story that's holding you back? Because I will guarantee whatever that story is, you were never asked to carry that. You chose to pick that up, and you can choose to put it down. I'm not saying it's easy. Okay, so don't get me wrong. I understand that the stories that we get aren't always fair. Life is not going to be fair. Never was designed to be fair, right? But you do also get to put it down, right? How can so maybe you do have a bad thing that went on in your life. Maybe there's a health issue or something like that, right? I just met somebody who in hospice wrote her book. There's a story, right? You could tell. And she chose to write a story about how being positive in the face of the most difficult things is what got her through, laughter, things like that, right? So where are you carrying things that you were never meant to carry? So let me just give you those three questions, because I think this is probably the most important thing that I will say this entire day. Maybe there'll be more, but I feel like this is important. Where am I forcing something I'm not designed for? Where am I ignoring my own strengths or values? And where am I carrying things that God never asked me to carry? Okay. And then to kind of wrap up this mindset side of it, I want to go back to gratitude. This is why gratitude is so important, right? Because when we allow gratitude to have the last word, things tend to slow down, right? Have you ever been grateful and then felt rushed and overwhelmed? I have not figured out how to make those two things happen at the same time. Not that I really want to, but the reality is I've never had that experience of gratitude and then being rushed and overwhelmed. And so gratitude just changes the rhythm. It creates space for clarity. It creates space for peace, right? And that peace comes from that clarity. And then peace creates momentum, right? Smoother transaction, a smoother ability to move forward. It's like greasing the rails. And so it all starts with this internal shift of understanding where gratitude fits and then asking yourself those questions so you can recognize where you need to be. Then we get into the structure here, the prepare portion of the cycle. And really today I want to talk to you about the structure of boundaries and understanding your capacity. And to do that, we should first define what alignment means in this context. And to me, in the context that I'm pulling from here to share this stuff with you guys today, alignment happens when your business decisions match up with who you are, with who God created you to be, with your strengths, your values, and your passion, or that purpose or reason. And so when your decisions match up with those things, you're in alignment. And that's when your business is also going to feel much more meaningful and much less chaotic. So understanding what alignment is, then you can also then recognize when you're out of alignment really quickly, because your day might have felt like a grind, or your schedule feels overwhelming to you, or you're dreading messages from your customers or things that are happening around you. You keep reacting to everything instead of being proactive in your decision making. And I think for most humans, we then go, man, I'm a failure. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not doing this right. These are all the things that I've said in my head, maybe even out loud at times. But the truth of the matter is, it's not failure. You're just out of alignment with who you are. It's so incredibly simple. It's almost easy to miss. And then from there, right, when we understand what alignment is and we can recognize when we're in or out of alignment, then I can start thinking about my capacity. And let me be clear on what capacity is before I get into this. is capacity is more than just time, right? So I could have just said, we get clear on where our time goes, but time really is not essential, right? We've had those moments where time just seems to fly, and we've had those moments where time drags. And so it's really more about your energy, your mental capacity, your emotional capacity, your ability to focus, and your groundedness, right? Your spiritual groundedness, however you are grounded into who you are. And so alignment really protects that capacity, and misalignment drains it, right? So you can see we're just layering this stuff on top of each other, and seeing how this is working. And so to protect that capacity, and to protect our alignment, and to protect our energy, then we need to have boundaries, right? And a lot of times when I was thinking about boundaries, or I've talked to other people about boundaries, we get this sense, right? We think of a boundary as like a big wall. But they're actually not big walls. Boundaries are actually guides. They're inviting, right? They're there to certainly protect you, right? Like a wall might. They're going to protect your time. They're going to protect your pricing. They're going to protect your communication, right? You don't have to be yelled at by some jerk. They're going to protect your availability. You don't have to work 24/7. And ultimately, what they're really doing is protecting your purpose, right? So it does have that element of protection as a guardrail, but it also allows you to build intentionally instead of reacting. And so boundaries also act as a magnet, right? They direct the right people in. They direct the opportunities to you that you need in your space to continue to fulfill that purpose that you have. And so thinking about a boundary as a guardrail is really important, right? Like, again, a guardrail is going to keep us from falling off the cliff, but it doesn't keep us from getting to our destination. It just guides us there, right? So there's protection from the outside, or from us making a catastrophic mistake, but it's not a wall. It's not an end point. It's not a stop. It's going to keep going. So understanding that, then, that's to me the light going off, the aha moment of, well, if I'm copying somebody else's guardrails, it's never going to work, because all that's doing is bringing people into their world, bringing the right opportunities into their world. It's them selling a program, right? And so copying somebody else's business plan is never going to work. It wasn't made for your strengths, which is completely unique to you, and it wasn't made for your story and your experiences. And so that copying actually does the opposite, right? We think, oh my gosh, this is so great. Yes, it makes so much sense. Man, I saw so-and-so, they're doing it that way. I'm going to do it that way. Well, yes, that could be inspiration, and that's not a bad thing. We want that. We do want to be inspired by all these people that have gone in the shoes before us, but I can't copy them, right? Because then I start comparing. I go, well, it worked for them. It didn't work for me, so it must be me. No, it's not you. It's just not built for you. Your plan has to match who you are and how you are designed. And so that's where we then step into the action here, the pollinate phase, which is all about implementing these guardrails. And really it's about the momentum that's built from that, and switching from reacting, right? Copying somebody else, reacting to the result, to instead building, to creating, to uncovering who we are, and therefore setting up our structures based on that, right? Because if you're putting out fires all day long, right? And I'm not saying fires are going to go away completely, but fires aren't going to feel so hot if you are being proactive, if you've built the guardrails, if you've built those boundaries. And so putting out fires all day is just about reacting. Building's quite different. Building is very intentional. Building comes with an understanding, with alignment, and it also matches your rhythm, not somebody else's. So from there, right, then I think what happened to me, and what took me so long to get there, was I thought it had to be these big, huge, sweeping changes. But actually, from this space, it's now about the small adjustments that are going to create big change. So yes, there will be an occasion. I had an occasion where I blew everything up. But actually, that was a result of several small changes leading up to what looked like, in the external, a very big blow up in my business, like changing everything, drastically doing something different. But for me, it was just a small change. And that small change produced huge outcomes. So think about for yourself, right? Like maybe you felt like you had to be open 7 days a week because you've got a storefront and the walk-in traffic and blah, blah, blah. Right. So maybe the small change is saying, hey, this is what's important to me, family time, my church, whatever the case may be. And look at Chick-fil-A, right? Have you ever gone to Chick-fil-A on Sunday? No, because they're all closed, right? Yet all of their competitors, everybody else in that quote unquote fast food space tells them that they have to be open on Sunday. That's one of the biggest days of the year for most of them. Doesn't affect them. This is their values. That's what's important to them. And they're closed on Sunday. So close on a Monday, right? Maybe you do enjoy spending time with your community on the weekend. And then you close your doors on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday when everybody else is at work. I don't, whatever, right? What's right for you is right for you, but it could be a simple shift of just updating your business hours. It could be a simple shift of saying, hold on a second. I'm not the cheapest. I'm not going to be all things to everyone. And so I'm going to raise my prices a little bit. So I attract the right people. I attract the people that see value, not just what's on the price tag. Another small change you can make is just simplifying your product offering. I'm all things to everyone. Great. I don't know. Can you do this? I don't know. Let me go figure it out. And now you've taken your eye off the prize. So if you simplify your product line, say, this is what I do. This is how we do it. If there's a story that's close enough, then that's your prerogative to make, but just go with your gut. If the red flags are there, it's okay to say no, right? Letting go of services that drain you, same type of thing. Creating a clearer workflow, slowing down long enough to say, where's my bottleneck? And let me make a small change that fits who I am, right? I don't need to have 12 different systems to get where I want to go. Yes, maybe there is software out there that supposedly makes things simpler, but you're the type of person that likes to keep things in a handwritten notebook. Great, go for it, right? If it's a bottleneck, then you'll figure out a system that works for you. But ultimately, build your schedule based on your natural energy, right? And those tiny shifts right there will make huge impact for you. And so from here, like, again, it's so simple, it's almost hard to understand. And also it's very hard to explain, right? There should be this really complicated formula. But the reality is you just need to make some small tweaks, but you get stuck because you don't know specifically what you want. And then you don't have a structure to get there. You don't have the intentional support pieces in place that's going to help get you to that place. You don't have the accountability that's going to keep you taking the actions that are slightly outside of your comfort zone. And ultimately, you really just don't have clarity on what you actually want, right? You built your business for somebody else based on what they thought was the right thing to do. And so those four things, structure, support, and accountability and clarity, are really crucially important to this whole thing. If you want to get out of overwhelm and go to alignment, you've got to know what the structure is that you need. You've got to have the intentional support pieces in place. You've got to understand what accountability means to you and how you're going to be able to do the hard things when it's time to do the hard things. And you have to have ultimate clarity about what you want, not what the world around you is telling you is success, right? Because that was the other thing I was doing wrong. I was going with this success is, all of the things that you hear on TV and in the magazines and in the ads that were served up all day, right? This is success for you. And I could go after that all I wanted. And ultimately, I would continue to self-sabotage myself until I realized what real success was. Real success is when somebody says, thank you for helping me fall in love with my business. Real success is when I see somebody like Sandy in our Masters of Success program tell us that she's ready to leave her day job and she's really scared about it and would like our help in getting there. And so Sandy and I got together and we talked about what that structure might look like. And she had a date of, I believe it was November 1st. Sandy, you can correct me if I'm wrong if you're watching this. And, oh, by the way, she was able to actually leave her day job months before that. right? I still have the confetti cannon that we need to set off when we're going to get together because it happens so fast, right? That's what success was for me, right? Allison from Princess and Redneck, watching what she's doing with her business, going from a side hustle to now having a storefront and achieving her revenue goals by August, right? And then the struggle that came with that of like, that was a number I didn't ever imagine. So I don't know what to do next. And she got the permission, gave herself the permission, but I feel like I was there to facilitate some of that. And she got the permission to go explore other things. And now she's creating a ministry that's going to help lots and lots of people. Come as you are, right? So that's what success is for me, because I had clarity and I finally closed out the noise, right? And so for you, right? So structure, support, accountability, and clarity. I knew that where I was heading, right? And therefore I knew that there was still a missing piece, right? So I changed everything. I got the book done. I started mastermind groups. I really started opening up to different opportunities that didn't look like the traditional coaching stuff. All that stuff, perfect, going. There was still a piece missing. And that piece has been eating at me all year. I needed a program where we could actually implement together in a facilitated way the ideas in this book and all the things that we've learned from our time with Masters of Success and other things like that. And so that's finally coming to life. And you guys may have heard of it already, but it's called the Business Builder Accelerator. And it is a 12-week fundamentals-based program that's going to help you identify where you're out of alignment. It's going to be a support system for rebuilding the structure underneath your business. It's going to protect your capacity. It's going to allow you to create boundaries with the support of other people, and just see where you can stop reacting and start building, and ultimately make the changes that fit your strengths, values, and passions, right? So it's really an implementation. It's not a course. It's not a training. It's really a facilitation. Yes, there will be training. Yes, there will be exercises and workbooks and some of those things. But the reality is it's not more to-dos. In fact, the way that it shows up for me and the way I've been implementing this myself over the last several months is it's only taking me about 3 to 6 hours a week away from all of the other things that I've got going on in my life. And honestly, those 3 to 6 hours are actually giving me back so much more time because of the fact that I'm working on my business and I'm getting more and more clarity each day as well, right? So you're going to end up with that clarity. I'm getting more and more confident, right? You're going to end up with that confidence. You're going to have a structure that supports who you are. You're going to have this momentum that you can't really stop even if you wanted to, right? There's so much passion behind it. So as I kind of wrap this up here, I just want you to remember this. You don't need to fix everything at once. You don't have to force yourself into someone else's blueprint. You absolutely don't have to figure this out alone. First and foremost, start with gratitude, right? That's it. That's the simple practical step. Start with gratitude, right? This is a book that could help with that. Right? But gratitude doesn't, again, pretend that everything's perfect. Gratitude just says there's a better voice out there. So when you're done with the blaming, the complaining, the excuse making, all of the negative energy, all of the anger, all of that stuff, if you need that, take that. That's totally fine. I'm not talking, that's just human. that's you're just human. But gratitude's over there going, yeah, I'm ready when you are, because guess what? There are some really great things going on. And gratitude probably knows your future better than you do, right? And turns that energy where you need. So start with gratitude and then go to alignment. Who are you are? Get back in harmony with that, those strengths, values, and passions. And those small shifts then start really creating momentous changes. And those small shifts also allow you to have more clear boundaries, right? The pricing adjustments, the letting go of something that's stopping you. You're just one more aligned decision away from that momentum that you so heartily deserve, right? That's the best word I could come up with there. And it just felt right. Heartily deserve. You heartily deserve that type of clarity. And if I can help facilitate that, I'm all about it. All right. So that's what I got for you guys today. I do want to put a couple things up as it comes to the Business Builder program here. If you want to go learn more about it and you're not ready for a clarity chat yet, you can just go over to this website, osg.link/builder. It'll tell you all about it. There's a couple of little plus signs that you can push in there to get even more details. I don't want to muck it up with all of the details, but I do like sharing everything that I can and being fully transparent. So open the plus signs and read through that if you want more of that. But also throughout there's easy buttons that you can push and just schedule your clarity call. And I'll tell you, honest to goodness truth, is this program right for you? And if it's not, I will be the first one to tell you it's not, because one of the things I share on this website is that I have 100% money back, like all of the money back guarantee, and no questions asked. No, all you have to do is say, I want a refund, and that's it. And I will give you a refund, period. Right? I will give you the refund. I might ask you after that, hey, what can we do better? Just for feedback. But the reality is I want people that are ready to transform their business. And so I'm going to tell you if it's the right program for you. All right. So if you do want to just kind of directly talk to me, go to contact us. The contact us page, basically it's consultaaron.com. I just wanted to make an easy URL for you to get there. And right at the top, you'll see a clarity chat button. It's even got a little animation to it, so you'll hopefully be attracted to it. But there's also several other ways to reach me: Facebook Messenger, LinkedIn, whatever is easiest for you. Just reach out. I want to talk to all of the business owners that I can, and if I can leave you a little better than I found you, then that's what God put me on this earth to do. All right. So that's what I got for you guys today. I'm going to get out of here and let you guys get back to your amazing holiday weekend. Happy Small Business Saturday to everyone. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving if you live here in the U.S. And Black Friday is treating you well, and Cyber Monday is going to be awesome for your business. And the last thing I would share is go out there today and support another small business. Every time we support another small business, it comes back to us tenfold. So go out there and support a small business today. Today is the day to do that for sure. All right, everybody, you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you next week.
Dark gaze, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through.